I'm Randy Pagels, a developer tools specialist at Microsoft. I focus on tools including Visual Studio, Microsoft Azure, and Team Foundation Server. Testing is often the most overlooked part of the software development process. Manual testing is a vital step in making sure the application does not contain any critical bugs. One of the biggest advantages of automating your test is it gives you the confidence to change and fix things and to add features without worrying about the possibility that something will break or that there will be unexpected side effects. The Test Hub contains results of all your test runs, regardless of type. You can see which ones have completed successfully, failed, or needs investigation. This is a great starting point for analyzing results and filing bugs. Let's run over to the lab to show you a few of these things. This is Visual Studio Team Services. This is the landing page for the team working on the Mercury Health application I'm going to be using for today for demonstrations. If we go over to the Test tab, this is where I can easily create and manage my manual tests. I can create test suites, I can create test plans. Notice I have a test case here. If I open up this test case, you can see on the Associated Automation tab that I have created a CodedUI test. So I've converted this into an automated test. Let's look at that. Inside of Visual Studio 2015, I've created a test project called an automated test project. I've added a CodedUI test. I've also created Selenium tests. The Selenium tests are based on page objects, so I can easily test any page in the application. The Selenium test can use this app config file, so now I can control which browser it uses as well. Let's go run a few of these and look. Notice on the left-hand side in Test Explorer, I can highlight a few of these tests. Let's just highlight these. Right-click and say run these tests. Now as a developer, I can do a smoke test on these UI tests. What this will do is launch the browsers. First we'll run Chrome, running the different various steps in Selenium. And then it'll go ahead and launch the CodedUI test using Internet Explorer. When it's done, I can very easily see which one passed and which ones failed. Now what I want to do is take this code and start automating it as part of my build. Let's jump back into Team Services and go to my Build tab. At the Build tab, this shows me all the different results of my builds across many projects. Let's focus in on Mercury Health today. You'll notice I have a build. Let's look at that, this one, 1220. Let's look at 1202.3. If I go into and look at the different results here, I'm going to go into edit mode here. Let's do this. Inside of edit mode, you'll notice that I have the different build steps. And of course, these are running some of the unit tests. If I wanted to, I could add additional build steps. This is where we support cross-platform build and deployment across different environments. So no matter what you're building or how you're building it, these different tasks will support it. Anywhere from Android or Ant to Gradle, Grunt, Maven, MS Build, etc. You name it, they're here. If I go ahead and look at one of the builds themselves, I'll jump into one of the summary builds. I'll just open one of these up. We have a nice summary page showing our different test results. Notice on the right we have a lot of tests running. Some are passing, some are failing. If I click on the detailed report, you can actually zero in on a specific UI test that has failed. You'll notice from the test runner, this add second donus test has failed. Now on the right hand side I can see the duration of it, I can see the assert why it failed. And if I scroll down to the bottom, you can see there is a bug filed against it as well. So we have this complete end-to-end linkage that can happen from the manual test to an automated test to the build as well as to the test run itself. Now the next thing I'd want to do, of course, is take this build and release, deploy in my build deploy pipeline. So over on the Release tab of Team Services, you'll notice I have a nice high-level view of all my different releases to the different environments. Let's focus in on Mercury Health again. And I'll look at a specific release. What I can do is go into this release itself, I'll edit it and show you what this looks like. So here's where I can add in different environments. Now I have the basic dev QA prod environments. Under QA, you'll notice I have test steps, these tasks. And notice I can actually filter saying, hey, run my Selenium tests in this environment after the code has been deployed. Also notice if I go ahead and add tasks, the build system and the release management system are using the same set of build tasks. This is very easy to customize and add your own tasks here if you'd like. Also supporting different deployment options, such as Chef, such as Azure, SQL deployments, Docker deployments, and the list goes on. Let's go ahead and look at what one of the releases look like. So if I open up a release, you'll notice it only made it to QA, and QA rejected it. If I scroll down to the bottom, you'll notice there's the test results run here as well. We'll get back to that in just 1 minute. I wanted to show you the environments. So now I can look at the individual environment and configure each one of these with approval processes pre and post deployments. I can also look at the log files. So now I can get individual files per different environment. Back on the summary page, the idea is that the release pipeline is running my Selenium test. It's running my CodedUI tests. What's nice is I can click into the test results, which jump over into our test run, our hub. And I can very easily see which ones failed. I can go ahead and create a bug from those as well. Also notice if I go back to the release tab, you'll notice on the summary page, I can actually click the build this release is coming from. So when I go into the build itself, look at the details, again, I can look at the add second donut, and of course I can hyperlink into that as well. So there is this end-to-end linkage that goes on between our build system and our deployment system and all the tests that are running. What's nice about the build summary is it's aggregating all the different tests that happen against this one build. Let's jump back over, going back into slides. Right, so what you've seen is the idea that we can take a manual test, convert it or record a automation test, and use the build system to go ahead and build, compile our code, cross-platform, and run some basic unit tests. Then we can use our release management system for this end-to-end traceability across the different environments, along the way running automation tests, UI automation as well as even load tests if we wanted to. And then looking at our test hub, we can summarize all the different aggregations of our tests, whether they're manual, automated, or even load. For more information, please visit visualstudio.com or msdn.microsoft.com. Thank you very much for joining.